Okay, next couple of words. Utility software. Now, once again, this may be sort of, I guess for some people, a little bit like, a bit unsure about this one. It's really not difficult, and I want to give you sort of 4 words that that will help you understand what utility software does. Utility software isn't stuff that enables you to actually make anything, but what it's really about is giving you the ability to analyze, to configure, that's what's an R there, optimize, and perhaps the key word, maintain. Now, don't worry too much if you're thinking, well, that's a lot to remember, because it will make more sense in a moment. A very good example of utility software is antivirus. Antivirus software doesn't enable you to actually sort of make anything, if you like. It's there really to analyze, we'll put an A there, it analyzes your computer to see if there are any viruses, and if there are, it will then maintain your computer by sort of removing them as a threat from your computer. So, you know, we could argue that maybe antiviruses analyze and maintain. But there are other types of utility software. For example, this is WinZip. And what WinZip does, it enables you to take a folder and to zip it up into a single file, which then could be, I tend to use it, I email something over. So for example, I've got say 6 or 7 documents, instead of emailing all the separate attachments, I put them all into one folder, zip that folder up, and then send that on. And I suppose in some ways you might argue there's an element of configuring the folder and optimizing the folder. So a bit of C and O from that list up there. Other forms of utility software, so far we've got antivirus and we've got our zipping up. Other form of utility software, we've got a program here called CCleaner. And when your computer is getting particularly slow, as they do over time, it's quite a good idea to run the CCleaner program. And without getting too complex, and you don't have to know this, what this will do is have a look at what we call the registry entries on your computer. And it will basically work out which are required and which are not required, and hopefully that will speed things up. So you could argue there's a bit of optimizing and a bit of maintaining going on with that particular program. And finally, I think we'll do this one here now. This is supposed to represent the idea of a defrag, which is the short version of the word defragmenting. Particularly useful if your computer is running quite slowly. I'm going to try to explain this. If you imagine here that the little black blocks mean that they're bits of your memory that have been used up, and the little white blocks are empty bits of memory. Think of it that way. You'll notice down here on here it says 242 gigabytes and 55 gigabytes. Now what we can see here is that the computer's hard drive is getting pretty full on this machine. So if I were to, say, save a, I don't know, let's say a 4 gigabyte film, we might find that in the computer here, so I'll save a bit of it. Maybe if I just switch to a red pen just for a second, actually, it might make life a little bit easier. I might save, because I've got 4 gigabytes, and let's say it takes up 10 blocks, and I say, well, I'll take 2 of those blocks there, I'll take those 3 there, I'll have those 5 around about there. So when switch back to a white pen again now, when the computer is loading up your work, if you imagine this is the hard disk of the machine, you've got 2 bits of blocks there, and then 3 blocks of there, and then we've got 5, and let's say that's stored there. The whole point being is that if it was nice and tidy and all 10 blocks in a row, it would read that much faster, well, not much faster, it would read it faster than if it's fragmented. And that's what we mean here. We're fragmented. So what defragmenting does is it tidies everything up and puts them in the correct order. So they're in blocks of 10. And by defragmenting your machine, you hopefully increase the speed at which things load up. There's no need to do a defragment really until you've got a lot of data on your hard drive and you start deleting things and overwriting things. When you've got a new machine, there's no point defragmenting. But if you find your machine is running slowly, my advice to you is first of all, get yourself CCleaner. It's a utility software that enables to clean up the registry entries, and then also try defragmenting it. You may find that as a result of doing that, your computer runs a lot faster. But the key thing with utility software, I always say perhaps the key word is especially an M, maintain. It's to try and maintain the computer to make it as efficient and as quick as possible. And that's if you're going to pick one of the words that we mentioned on the previous slide of analyze, configure, optimize and maintain, I would suggest that maintenance is perhaps the key word that we associate with utility software. So hopefully that made sense.